you'd brief all your training flights, and at the end you'd have a debrief. Well, the debrief was a whole lot longer than the brief and the flight itself, and the debriefs were tough because you wanted to do this as best you possibly could. There's no such thing as a perfect show, but you want to get it as close as you possibly can. And you have 4 planes up there in close formation to each other. Everybody makes tiny little mistakes here that, they want to fix and do a little bit better next time. And it's always something. If you didn't do this just right, next time you do something else a little bit off. But there was a lot of work that went into it, but it was also rewarding. And every Thursday
fun.
And fun every Thursday.
Let's keep that in there. It's a lot of, you got paid to have fun. It's like playing professional sports. I mean, there's a 12-year-old kid sport. Like football, or you get paid to do it, or get paid to play, but you got paid to do what a 12-year-old kid would dream about doing, or even a 50-year-old guy that's fed up with his life.
Well, I was getting to that. I was going to say every Thursday they put a paycheck in my bank account back home, which was nice. That fed the family. I had 2 young children at the time that are now teenagers. So yeah, it was. I felt at times like I'm like a professional golfer or a professional tennis player, that I get a paycheck to go out and do what I do just to have for fun. So that sure beat accounting, I can tell you that.
I'm getting envious now. By golly, the longer this story goes on, I was stuck running a fixed base opportunity. But anyway, show us your brain bucket?
Yeah, you could call it a brain bucket. Most of us call it a helmet. These were all custom made by an outfit out in El Cajon, which is outside of San Diego. It works pretty well. It's pretty quiet because when you're up there with 4 airplanes with those propellers spinning real fast and the engine's putting out 450 horses, it gets noisy, so you get a fair amount of noise canceling. Thank God you get some shade here from the sun, because there are times when you're flying the show, you're looking at the sun, and it's not easy on the eyes. And needless to say, if something goes wrong, it's nice to have the protection of a helmet. So glad I never used it. Not too many scratches on mine, thank God. And over here, this was my weekly uniform, and this one is what I would wear during the air show. It's not a whole lot different, but it's a little bit different. The nice thing about it is that it's made out of Nomex, which is a fireproof product. So heaven forbid you had a fire problem, that thing would give you a little bit of time. Hopefully you could get on the ground and get out of the plane.
Jim, you should go to Motivational Talking. Really, you've got a great thing going as far as changing your life from a humdrum life in an office, beating your brains out and your eyeballs on working a calculator and a computer and dealing with customers, to a lifetime of just having fun. Now, one other question. I said you're upside down for many years, and you had to eat a pizza while you're doing it. Was that one of the required things from the Red Baron Pizza Company?
Actually, the big requirement was getting a tattoo on our hiney, that said I will eat Red Baron pizza the rest of my life. That was it. But back to your motivational, I have to admit to a big fault here. As I said earlier, I liked the accounting for the first 5 years, but after that, I didn't care for it too much. To me, it seemed like just a lousy game. You got a tax code. Hell, the last time I looked at it a few years ago, 70-some thousand pages long. That's ridiculous. And as an accountant, you're helping people save money when it comes to taxes, but at the same time, you say to yourself, this is sort of dumb. The system could be a whole lot better, so you didn't get a whole lot of reward out of it other than you got your paycheck. So the reason I would say there's a fault is because I spent 15 years or close to it saying to myself, what is it I could do to get away from this and enjoy life a little bit
to
more? Escape. And so I was flying, and I'd go up in the evening or the weekend and zoom around a little bit and leave it on the ground. But it took a long time to find another occupation that was more rewarding. In my case, I hit the lottery. I mean, I hit a big lottery landing a job with Red Baron, because not exactly a ton of guys get to do that, and so it was a lot of fun. And as I said earlier, also, I wasn't that interested in going from point A to point B. I wanted to go up and screw around in the airplane. I had a love, for whatever reason, of the old biplanes, and so after I got my license, the first plane that I bought was an old biplane, and learned how to fly it a little bit better, and that gave me a little bit of an advantage when it came time to apply for the job.
Jim, if this interview had happened to go viral, and the flying schools are going to be packed with 50-year-old guys trying to getting rid of their humdrum existence and going into flying. It'll be all your fault. Boy, they'll get after you on that one.
Well, maybe we could luck out, Ernie, and maybe a lot of 50-year-old women would like to change too, and you and I could teach them a few things. Or maybe they could teach us a few things.
Jim, I think you're on to something on that. Hey, thanks a lot.
We could get paid for having fun again.
You're right.
Let me say one more thing here. Back to the air shows. We didn't get to Act 2 and Act 3, but in Act 2, we would draw a huge heart in the sky with 4 airplanes, and then we would draw 2 smaller hearts in the sky with 2 airplanes, and then another 2 airplanes doing different maneuvers. So we passed along some love to the air show audience, and at the end of the performance, we would go into a tail chase, which was always fun. You're running the thing wide open. You put the money handle forward and you don't even touch it. Just running it wide open, doing loops and rolls and barrel rolls. And, and that one you do half Cuban 8s. And, that's pretty exciting for the audience, and it was fun for us.
You had me feeling sorry for you when telling us how hard you had to work. Now you're telling us how much fun you had.
Well, geez, you got to look at the positive side, too.
You got that right. That is a beautiful brain bucket. That's what the military called them.
Yeah.
And you didn't wear helmet and goggles. You wore a helmet, huh?
Well, when I was taking passengers for a ride, I wore a leather helmet and goggles, but for the air shows, we always wore the hard bucket.
That's a good idea. Hey, Jim, well, thanks a lot for being with us, and you motivated me possibly to go back to flying.
Well, perfect. Yeah, I think we need to put up a sign on the internet that says, come see Ernie or come see Jim, and we'll give you a tailwheel checkout and put a smile on your face or something.
Yeah, but better, you be a motivation, I'll be your agent, okay?
Perfect.
I only get 15%, and if Hollywood happens to call and wants to talk to you after this has been gone viral, and I'll tell them, well, I'm his agent, but I can help you, and if I get you 20%, I want 10%, okay?
Perfect. I'll take whatever you give me. I'm an easy to get along with guy.
Okay, Jim, thanks a lot.
My pleasure, Ernie.
And that was interesting. I always wanted to talk to an old airshow pilot, and you were an honest one. You didn't give us tales or anything else like that. Yeah, that was good.
Well, I did scare myself a couple times, but
join the club.
Yeah. I mean, that if you hang around long enough, you'll scare yourself here and there. But
absolutely. Well, I want to talk about some things. Just quick, I'm going to talk about the children's book again, Schnutzy. It's a picture book that I put together for kids, and it's best if it's read to them and acting everything out. It's a talk about diversity. And it's to teach kids diversity, and there's a little this is actually based on a dog, and just an adorable little guy owned by Emily, who is doing our video graphics right there. And this is just a stage name, Schnutzy. His real name is Alake. after a personnel in Madagascar, wasn't that, Emily? And it's a story about how this little dog wins over hostile dogs in a new neighborhood by doing something heroic, and he's called a hero, so now the dogs want to associate with him. So the idea is if the dog could teach us lesson that if somebody is different, talks different, acts different, has a funny name, has a big ear or big ears or a big tail, then they probably have a good heart too. Diversity for kids. This one is the Mount Street Tigers, and this is a fictionalized account of my growing up in South Akron, one of the toughest parts of Akron, and all the things that happened. And this one, folks, is the rubber flying machines. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a history of people down through almost the beginning of flying trying to build a rubber airplane, an inflatable airplane that would never crash, just bounce. And yet went from the first one in 1914, the British built one that would fold up and then inflate and carried it on a submarine as a scout airplane. And that continued on. Many people tried it, and then Goodyear came up with the inflataplane. And it flew, it was very popular. And the military fought popular as far as the military was concerned. And when they were testing it and giving a demonstration out at Wingfoot Lake, the pilot was done with the demonstration, and he tried some violent maneuvers, and he folded the wings. Well, he then panicked. He stood up into the propeller. And then he fell out of the airplane, went down around Wingfoot Lake, and then when the airplane wings flopped back again. And the airplane crashed right around Wingfoot Lake, and that was the end. The military then rejected the airplane. But anyway, thanks a lot for being with us. And this is our aerobatic air show history lesson and motivational lesson from a guy who's done it all. Jim, once again, thanks again.
My pleasure, Ernie.
Now, we said goodbye to Jim a couple of times, and I forgot to give him one of the most important things. This is a membership in Captain Ernie's Flying Club. Now, it's a real organization. A lot of people are clamoring to get into it because we do absolutely nothing.
How much are the dues?
Dues? Well, I can make them high if you want, but for you, Jim, for giving me a motivational talk and inspiring me to change my ways, you now are a member of Captain Ernie's Flying Club. Once again, no meetings, no dues. We don't do a thing. That's why
no initiation fee?
Right, not like you had.
Listen, I'm going to motivate you. You need to do something here, so you put a little something in your pocket.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot. We're welcoming Jim to Captain Ernie's Flying Club.
Excellent. Thank you.